me? Yes. Okay. So I won't be alone. I will be in a great company of 4 panelists. One person couldn't make it because of the drones situation last night, so she's still traveling. But let me first of all welcome on stage our speakers. Florence Bout, Operational Officer from Open Nebula Systems. A big applause. So we wake up. Then I would like to call on stage, please take your seat you prefer. Then Alessio Manca, Solution Partnership Manager from Tiscali. Please, Alessio, welcome. Then Stanislav Krizanovsky, Business Development Manager at Cloudflare. Please, Stanislav. You are a little bit and then, thank you very much. So, and then instead of Petra Dalunde, we have the pleasure to have with us Çağatay Yilmaz from RISE, Project Manager. So,
we will bring a chair, just a second.
Sorry, I can stand.
No, we did not count. Okay, I do.
Okay. So they were so prepared that when they knew the one speaker was missing, they took off a chair. But in the meantime, during the coffee break, I got an additional speaker. So, that's why. So who is familiar with the AI Continent Initiative? I guess most of us, right? No, not everybody. So it makes sense that we spend a couple of words about the AI Continent Initiative that was announced by the European Commission in April this year. The ambition is, the vision and the ambition is that Europe becomes a global leader of trustworthy AI, enabling global competitiveness and economic growth of Europe, making sure that we safeguard our democratic values, and also making sure that the AI leadership from European players is a human-centric, ethical, secure, and trustworthy AI. There are several initiatives. We have here experts. We will discuss a little bit how to transform the vision, the AI continent vision, into reality. What are the main priorities? What are the main criticalities? And we would like to have also your questions and comments in the final part before the lunch. Okay, so first of all, I would like to give the floor to each of my speakers to shortly introduce yourself and how you are engaged in the building AI continent vision and plan. Please.
Hi, my name is Florence. I obviously work with Open Nebula Systems. So we're involved in two aspects. Of course, we're part of the software stack, the orchestration layer, but also involved in the Cloud Alliance and figuring out advisory to the European Commission.
Hi all. I would also like to thank all the organizers for inviting me here. It's a pleasure and an honor, of course. My name is Alessio Manca. I work for Tiscali in the Villanova project. I'm currently leading a cluster within the workstream 3 where Stanislav is co-leading the entire workstream.
Hi everyone, Stanislav Krzyżanowski from Cloudflare. So we are a cloud provider, so our concern and contribution to the AI continent is providing the services, and to this extent I'm involved in IPCI Workstream 3 as one of the coordinators, and I'm involved currently in one of the bids for the AI Gigafactory that is being prepared in Poland and some neighboring countries, Baltics mainly.
Hello, Çağatay Yilmaz. Sorry for disappointing you. Petra couldn't make it, but I will do my best. So I have two hats, I can say. One of them is I'm a project manager at RISE, Research Institutes of Sweden. And the second one, I am the Open Compute Project's Nordic lead. So I will try to contribute with the feedbacks from both sides.
So thank you very much. So the AI continent plan is of course a rather articulated and diverse set of activities and challenges. And today, with the experts coming from different angles and perspectives, I would like that we cover a little bit a few aspects that relate to the software foundation, to the infrastructural aspect, to the business framework, and also to the connectivity as one of the key elements that maybe was not stressed a lot in this morning about, empowering this continuum that is trustworthy and safe for Europe. What I would like to start with is maybe the software sovereignty aspect, and ask Florence to tell us about what Open Nebula or what you are doing in this respect.
Sure. So I think most of us of you guys in the room know us, but we have an orchestration management layer. So we are actually developing Factora. I'm thinking a lot of you would have heard of that, of federating cloud service providers, bare metal providers with GPUs to provide a comprehensive solution for AI factories in Europe.
And related to that, do you think it's more challenging the level of providing hardware capacity, or really the orchestration part?
I think Stan can probably answer the hardware a bit better than me, but I obviously know that there are issues with sourcing and long lead times, so he can probably comment a bit better on that. But from a software point of view, I think it's a lot more nuanced. There are challenges, but it's not about the technical aspects. We have the technology. Open Nebula has the technology. We've demonstrated with Factora that it is possible, but it goes more to a bit the second part of your question around the scalability, the usability, the affordability. So Manuel Mateo mentioned one of the competitors in the market jacking up their prices. That's created quite a consternation in the industry, and how to deal with that, especially as it's a US player, not a European player. So how do we feel about that in Europe? How resilient are we in Europe for that? And what do we want to do about it going forward? So we have that aspect, and so like Stan, we're also collaborating on tenders for gigafactories, and we went and talked to one of them, and all the proposals are actually some variation of a US stack. So we're getting all this funding, billions, 20 billion I think, from the European Union, but that is going towards some variation of American stacks. So is that where we want our European funds to go? Because there's the knock-on effect, and I'm going a little bit off tangent, but still relevant in the conversations that from this morning. So we're supporting US economy, we're supporting US jobs, and also skill set. We're not developing our European economy or our European skill set. And then before I hand over to Stan, my last point would be around so now we have the different gigafactory proposals in Europe, with variations on US stacks. So what happens when someone in Spain, the gigafactory, chooses one stack, and someone in Sweden chooses another stack? How are we going to create that collaboration that Manuel Mateo was going on about? Because right now we're still operating a little bit in silos, and I know you've got a question about that coming later.
No, but I guess this is a great question that you are putting forward that we could discuss, actually. But maybe first,
okay, so Florence has covered lots on the software side. On the hardware side, I can name a couple particular problems. So access and lead times for chips, that really varies, it changes how long you will wait. What you will get, everybody's favorite GPU provider, NVIDIA, tends to change its commercial policy quite rapidly without letting anyone know. This is one thing. The other thing is securing data center capacity. Commercial collocations are not good enough in Europe for high-density computing. So you have to either build your own thing or find a very, very specific place. And then yes, you manage to secure, once you manage to secure the chips, it's either from NVIDIA or from AMD, but you're not going for the AMD one because, and that's the biggest problem with AIGF or generally with AI continent, well, you need to have market demand for that because it's not this time is not a research initiative, it's a commercial business initiative that should be led by the private sector. The private sector goes where the demand is. Nowadays, well, the demand is for something based on NVIDIA stack or some very, very high-level services such as Gen AI as a service, but those do not justify such a big capacity at the moment. So we are in this circle where, yes, we would like to go out with something new, something more European, more open, but then, well, I as a cloud provider, I have to refer to what my customers want. I can slowly introduce some new things, and I can educate the market, I can educate the customers together with partners, together with the public sector, but ultimately I will do what the customers want, and that puts me at the moment at the disadvantage, honestly, towards NVIDIA. That's the biggest challenge, I would say.
Thank you. We heard about challenges and criticalities. We will discuss also about opportunities and more positive aspects, I'm sure. One question is that relate to this discussion. First of all, I'm very glad that you touched upon the demand aspect, because this is also something that a recent policy brief that was published by the Bertelsmann Foundation was insisting on. The title of this policy brief is Built for Purpose, Demand-Led Scenarios for Europe's AI Gigafactories. I think it doesn't only apply to AI Gigafactories, but to many other, scenarios. And in a way related to what the previous speaker mentioned, open source has been a choice also because of cost-related aspects. And sometimes open source options can become a cost if you don't have the right skills, if you don't have the capacity in-house. I'm talking about SMEs in particular because I'm leading an SME. And I would like to see your view, Chatay, about open source as being a key element of sovereignty, but at the same time being a cost, nonetheless.
Yes and no. Actually, I want to reference here a great question from Sakiko, which was asked, and I want to highlight one point from the perspective of Open Compute project. And I want to do the same test. How many of you know Open Compute project and you got involved? Yeah, the main issue is, I think many things are changing in the world right now. And I'm really a big fan of thinking about this open innovation perspective, but most importantly, co-creation principles of some open source initiatives that they are taking. What is the cost here? Basically, you have to contribute. It is not like only taking an open source code or an open technology and start implementing it in your facility. It has amazing advantage when it comes to using your resources, but will it fit your needs? This is a really great question. So OCP became one of the biggest supporter, and as an open community, of the hyperscalers especially. And they are involved in this community, and they are willing to pay, contribute big amounts of values because they know that it's going to turn back. And the turn back time is quite short. Most importantly, they change the market. They touch the future of the market. Giving you an example, if we check everything from the regulations point of view, we would be stuck on the 400 volts DC supplies. But some organizations, let me not name them, but they are forcing, hey, not enough, 800 volts, it has to happen. And customers and solution providers under the same umbrella organization, they work together and design the future technologies that they need. So from my point of view, yes, nothing is for free. There is always, you pay somehow, right? You pay somehow. I think it is critical that we pay with the right way, and we actually, plan the roadmap into the right way for our commercial success.
Thank you very much. What I would like now to reflect upon, and we come to Alessio, is the fact that building the AI continent require. At the end, the ultimate ambition is to make accessible AI, Gen AI, to all players in the European scenario, both private and public organizations. But we know very well that we need connectivity as a core backbone in order to access AI. So I would like to reflect with you, Alessio, on what do you see are the main criticalities and what are the main opportunities?
So let's say that without connectivity you can't run anything. So it's a mandatory issue that we need to solve, especially if we really. This morning there was a great keynote that showed a picture saying that one of the goals is to displace the capability of computation to the edge. And without connectivity, actually, you can't do this. We need to discharge this capability from big data centers to the edge sites, and this is the critical role of telcos, regional telcos. We are, and this is also more important if we think that we are the nearest players to the customers, to the users. A friend of mine, for example, we were having dinner together. She's a system administrator at the Sardinian Radio Telescope, which is a big factory, actually. So that's not an age in the ICT sense, but it's producing, and they have this problem. They have the link. The link is fast enough, but they are producing tons of terabytes that can't really be distributed to the data center that is able to elaborate those data. So what's going on? We need, as telcos, we need to integrate better tools for the edge, bringing the artificial intelligence algorithms to the edge. So in this way, desaturating the network itself, and with this we are able to allow companies to use advanced applications that really matter their business, and in this way the edge is not an edge anymore, and we are acting as a unique entity. If we think, just to give you a sport comparison, it's just like you have a relay with the fastest man in the world, a gold medalist, but the fourth player is the slowest. So we need to act all together and bring this, calculate the weight of the artificial intelligence, not only at the center, but all over the European regions.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this connects also to what Matteo from the European Commission mentioned this morning about decentralizing intelligence, but at the same time distributing and decentralizing also the control in networks. And this vision of 3C networks is the overarching vision that was put forward. But my question, it's like we're seeing a convergence of AI, cloud, data, edge, IoT, and you name it. And the reality is that these communities, especially research and innovation communities, have not been necessarily connected or used to work together. Now there is a call for all of us to be able to overcome these ecosystems virtual barriers. Do you think that in the race to 6G, Europe will have a say, will be capable of catching up with respect to other global players?
The answer is that we don't have any other choice, of course. This race is very competitive, of course, and just like for generative AI, we will reach the same level of the other competitors, of course. Probably we will not be the first, but
it's important that we get there, right? I would like to touch upon a last point that maybe cuts across all these discussions, and it's that there are transversal aspects like security, like privacy, that are of course impacting the choices ahead. What do you think, especially when you consider research and the transition from research to innovation in that respect? Maybe from you, Chattai.
Good question. For me, I think we should have two aspects. One of them is about touching to the digital sovereignty and differently data sovereignty. I think these are two different things. And the other one, it's a road path, it's a road which will make us competitive. I don't think, sometimes I think most of the people, they are confused about these two different aspects, but I think they require totally different solutions. So from research to innovation side, I always want to see technologies which are targeting niche areas, which would actually, the investments in these areas would have really fast returns when it comes to capital returns. Then we can also invest more into our sovereignty. But if you want to do both, since the solutions are different, like giving you an example, AI factories is a great example, and European cloud is a great example of this because it touches our data sovereignty. Like, it is urgent, we have to solve this as soon as possible, but this is not going to put us yet into a competitive position. We use this data, really valuable data, I think way more valuable than the technology that we are providing, turn it into a product, and in the long term, then we will start seeing the returns when it comes to capital returns especially. So as a researcher, my soul, my brain tells me, always target these niche areas because these are the things that which would give EU a big competitive edge.
Thank you. Here I would like to connect to Stanislav and what he said before about demand, because of course then, the bridge needs to be crossed at some point when you go from research to market. And I would like to hear your view, especially because you mentioned before, of course, it's difficult to compete against hyperscalers. So what is your value proposition as cloud provider in Europe to,
Okay. I see two ways of building a cloud business nowadays in Europe. You either find yourself a good stable basis that is somehow at least partially exclusive to you, and then it can be a bigger being a part of a bigger group. It can be building on a legacy, some kind of a legacy business. It can be selecting an industry that has specific requirements, and then you build with a strong focus on competences, technical expertise, on this control across the whole tech stack as much as you can, and you can see examples of such businesses in Europe, in almost everywhere. You know us in space, OVH, Scaleways, Tacket, Aruba, whatever you choose. And the other approach is, well, you get huge investors, you buy lots of GPUs and set up a neocloud, and you hope that before you run out of money, you secure enough. There is enough market demand for AI. I opt for the former So for building this internal capacity, internal expertise. And with the former, your primary value proposition is you are European sovereign cloud provider. Now we see the evaluation framework proposed by the Commission. It's a great thing. We've been banging and ranting about it for years now, and we are very, very happy to see it. But that's obviously not all. You have to have services that are up to quality, that respond to your customers' needs. And what you can do when you compare yourself to those three big players, well, you can be more flexible, you can be less voracious than them. You can get closer with these customers, and they do appreciate it. So what you do is you offer this service that is sovereign, that responds to customer needs, that allows your customers to be a part of the development roadmap, to direct where you go if they are big enough. I would say that this is the way for European cloud providers, and you will see, provided that the sovereign framework is actually implemented and is being used, I think we will see a rapid growth of European cloud providers and rapid development. And actually, we will see exciting new stuff coming from them, coming from us, in terms of technology, in terms of services, solutions. That we will see that it's not only hyperscalers that can do amazing stuff in this domain.
Thank you. Do you agree, Florence?
Absolutely, yes. Stan said it very
Thank
well.
you.
Okay. There is a point that I would like to discuss with you, Florence, that relates also to something that Chatai mentioned before, that is data sovereignty, data portability, because there's, of course, interoperability, as was mentioned by Sachiko in her panel. It's nevertheless a key ingredient in this whole picture. Could you tell us what's your view on this?
Oh, absolutely, exactly, because Manuel said it perfectly. We need to collaborate. We can't just work in silos, and that's within the AI gigafactories. So that we can operate very locally, and we can bring in providers from different countries, but across, to use the IPSI word, the continuum, because it's companies are not going to have only AI workloads. They're going to have different types of workloads, and right now we're just focusing on that AI segment, but what about the rest of it? So we need to open up to the whole continuum, which I believe the IPSI AI is going to be addressing. It covers everything except for gigafactories, but of course needs to integrate with gigafactories as well. And I think it's crucial. I went to an event a couple of months ago from Orange, and they said exactly that if we are going to stay competitive, then we need to collaborate, we need to have interoperability, we need to have portability, and that goes to an earlier comment about open source and open standards. We need it if we're going to stay competitive in the market.
Thank you, Florence. Alessio, I think the point of interoperability and standardized interactions, it's crucial, and it has always been fundamental for telco operators, telco providers. What is your view on this? How is Europe competitive at standardization, especially when it comes to interoperability?
Well, within the Aura project, we are working a lot on these aspects, and tomorrow maybe you will get a better touch. Better speakers than me spoken about the importance of both technical aspects like open source, like federation, but there are also regulatory aspect issues that are very important, because one thing is to reach an agreement between companies, something like a gentleman agreement, let me say, so that we all agree that it's good to find a way to intercommunicate between systems at all levels of the technical stacks. But sometimes it's also needed a guide from above. So regulation like AI Act or Data Act are really enforcing this willingness to find the agreement between all. And it's very important. It's not one or the other way, but that's a good compromise between all those issues that must be bringing us to the goal.
Thank you, Alessio, very much. This leads me to a question that I didn't think about, but when it comes to the point you mentioned about interoperability, no, actually, I have a jet lag. Let me come back to this point afterwards, because I want to phrase it properly. But for me, there's actually, yes, no, that's the point. It was the regulatory aspect, because I think, you know, lots of regulations, lots of discussion about regulations. We have heard before a few points, but when it comes to business, when it comes to the market, are these regulations at their current level of maturity helping your businesses? In particular, I'm looking at the more business people here on stage. Or how do you see regulation? Is it really slowing down innovation? And what would be your recommendations to the policymakers if you could tell them, you know, what you really need and what you really would prefer not to?
Would you like to start, Alessio? After you. Okay. So nobody's that willing to talk about it. Okay, so current regulations, we, as a company, we see as a positive in general the effort to regulate the digital market, the digital services. That's a plus. Yeah. In general, they are aimed at much bigger players. Also, in general, unless you're talking about AI Act, this is there is a cost of it, of course, and especially for mid-caps, SMEs, even more, learning what's going on, understanding the thing, and then implementing it. It's taxing. It's a real cost, but I do not mind it that much. What do we expect from public administration and from the regulatory side of the world? We expect that the administration will have an industrial policy, so conscious long-term decisions on the direction they want to drive the development of the European industry, but we really don't want them to do it. So industrial policy should be focused on setting up directions, but then the execution should be left to the industry. So because sometimes there is a tendency of public administration, both in Brussels and on a national level, to first set the target, set the goals, and then find somebody within the public administration to do it themselves. And this is not the way. This is not the way, in my opinion. The way is to, yes, set the direction, but then hand over the execution and the delivery to the industry. That is, well, I know it's cliche and it's trivial, but it's really faster to do it this way, and there are really spillovers of doing it this way. That's what I strongly believe in, and that's what I've been seeing for the last many years.
Thank you.
So from a software side, I'm going to extrapolate a little bit more kind of generally to regulatory bodies rather than regulation, although, you know, we are, of course, in favor of removing switching fees, egress fees and things like that. But we see it as positively as well, because Thibaut Kleiner came out recently and said, you know, we really should be buying European. He just said, you encourage everyone, buy European. And that's exactly as a European industry what we need to be hearing and what we need to be putting into effect. And so we saw the framework DG Digit around sovereignty and being informed and transparent about the choices that we're making when we are buying. So hopefully to be buying a bit more European. I know that the Commission is going to review their procurement processes next year in line with that, and I think that's all positive things to support our growing industry.
Thank you. Florence, Alessio, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to share with you our experience. In our project, we are building an LLM in different languages other than English. And when we saw the AI Act, we said, oh my God, we don't have any more data sets to create, because most of the data sets, most of the data sets are covered by right properties and so on, but this is an opportunity. I just heard yesterday that the best language to prompt a chatbot is Polish, even if the Polish has the least number of data sets. So it means that there's a different way that can be used, that it can be followed to reach the same results, or even better, probably.
Thank you.
I'm still amazed about
thinking about your comments and also about some of the criticism that was put forward towards the AI continent plan, or some parts of it, I think that first of all, with respect to policies, maybe the AI regulatory sandboxes will help speeding up the time at which we can test and validate what some regulations imply. But this is still to be seen, but it's definitely, I think, an important initiative that will help in that direction. The other point is about the demand side, right? And here, especially now with the latest announcement in October about AI for science and for research, my question is, do you think, Chatai, and maybe also the other partners, the other experts, do you think, Chatai, that research centers can represent the demand, or can be an important part of the demand that we foresee to have in Europe?
I would say not really. We are really demanding when it comes to the tools that we use, because as discussed, we are really focusing on the niche areas. And if you target these niche areas, you need to be demanding about the tools and infrastructure you are having. But there is also one aspect, like we need the right resources to get this demand. And these resources, if we solely want to provide them from European funding, etc., I think it is not fair and sustainable. I think, I understand there is always this chicken and egg issue, like which is first. I think demand always should be the driver. Demand should be the driver of research. I can say that we are. Personally, I believe we can be better at this. And personally, I question most of the times, most of the European research organizations, I will be frank here, we have more requests from American organizations sometimes than we have from European organizations. So demand has started in some places, and then they will start getting the results faster. If you leave it only on research, probably first, maybe the outcomes are not going to satisfy the industry 100%. We have to collaborate better to understand, industry, to deliver, to help you to develop together better results. And the second thing is, like, if you leave everything to research, we can be quite spoiled about what we're going to do. Like, maybe it won't be in line with what industry needs.
Thank you, Chatai. Do you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
No, I think, I raised this point also because in the policy brief that I mentioned earlier on, one aspect is really about realizing that Europe is a totally different context when it comes to the so-called anchor customers right? There's not such big centers demanding for the huge amount of computational resources that there are, for instance, in the US, and therefore it should be more of a multi-customer sort of approach in which you will have demand that it's an aggregation of flows coming from a much higher number of mid to small players. So in this sense, one of the points made in this policy brief is to sort of make a recalibration of these AI factories and gigafactories in terms of really meeting the demand, the forecasted demand. So, but on the other hand, I think that in order to grow the demand, we have to make sure that the data and the applications that are data hungry can be executed, can be developed. And here there is a chicken and egg situation when it comes to digital skills as well, because there's a lack of digital skills, especially for mid and small enterprises. So this is I think, a cross-cutting challenge. So this reflection lead me a little bit to the AI Act.
Can I quickly comment on
Sure.
the demand and the GPU capacity in Europe? So we should ask I hope it's not, there is no recording here.
No recording.
Okay, we should ask ourselves what's the purpose of especially AI gigafactories, and once we ask this question and answer it, then we should ask ourselves next question: are we willing to run multi-annual loss on this enterprise? OpenAI, I believe, will generate a bigger loss this year than the entire AIGF initiative is supposed to cost. So, and it's on the forefront of the development. They're the biggest, I don't know if the best, that's not my area of expertise, but certainly the biggest and very, very active. So, and we can do it as Europe. It's not that much money in comparison to GDP, in comparison to budget, but the question is, what is the goal? What is the purpose? What do we want to achieve? It's not necessarily clear to me. We as business we will do everything to balance it out. Yeah? But with such an announcement, it would be good to know where are we, at least where the public side wants to go. It's not clear to me to this day.
I think it's not only not clear to you. So thank you for this reflection. I would like. Here we had planned to have, I have to check the time because I think we also want to take a couple of questions from the audience. We have 15 minutes more or less to go. So I would like to touch upon success stories. So successful examples about acceleration of European AI deployment. Who wants to start?
I was going to say, in the context of IPSISIS, we have the federation, kind of the agglomeration of GPUs, GPU capacities through Vertora and Factora. So I think that sends a strong signal that we do have the orchestration software management layer set up to be able to support. Yep.
Yeah, I fully agree that there are a couple of examples in the Aura project, like Vertora as well, just to mention my colleague here, my partner here. Out of the Aura project, actually, it links me to the previous question. I think that the way at the CERN work since really decades, they know artificial intelligence. They invented probably artificial intelligence. This is not the case. That last year prize went to one of the co-workers at the CERN. They developed everything inside. They are really researchers. and the demand is even growing, and they are far ahead of the rest of the world in terms of research and the capabilities in artificial intelligence. And for the next year, they will probably create new instruments just to detect what is currently undetectable, discovering new science.
So, our project will be also presenting tomorrow, right?
Right.
Okay, great. So some success stories will be discussed more in detail. Stanislav?
Okay, I can give an example of a success story in Europe with an AI in it. In Poland, last year, a bunch of enthusiasts has teamed up, and they've managed to train the first Polish large language model. Actually using it's not yet AI factory, but using research capacity of one of the supercomputing centers. Yeah, and it's up and running, and they are retraining it, releasing new versions, and so on. It's called Bielik, and it's in the use. We are hosting it. There are some commercial users of it. So yes, there are success stories, also thanks to the existing capacity. But no, without but. It's a success story.
Okay. Chatai?
I mean, on the research side, I can say that RISE is involved in many publicly or privately funded projects. I think it would take a lot of time to count them, where we really started touching industry. And we see good improvements, but there is also all that TRL issue, right? Once the technology is really close to market, the commercialization, then there are other global dynamics for this technology to be the market leader. So I think until that point, I would say Europe is really good. We are really competitive. But then the different dynamics may be slowing it down, or there are technology transfers that we know some of the European technologies as non-European after all. So this is maybe a topic of another panel.
Thank you very much. I would like to take some, sorry? Sorry. I would like to take a couple of questions. I see two gentlemen here. Please, sorry, I saw first, but.
Hi, thank you.
If you can, yeah,
it's working. So just as a perspective from a data center and cloud service provider, a little bit similar to Cloudflare, I really like that there is a building of an AI continent, but at the same time I'm a little bit frustrated. We have data centers, we have often data centers with extra capacity, both in space and grid connections. We're in the Netherlands, so we are restricted currently by what the power grid enables us to use of those connections. We will be able to far outmatch whatever AI factory is being built now in capacity if we were allowed to use our existing infrastructure and upgrade that with the GPUs. We get the business demand, but we currently cannot grow. So for me, unlocking that power question and allowing the existing data centers to use the power efficiently would be the fastest way to build up the AI continent, because they're already interconnected, they already have their connections, expertise, and hypervisors and clouds that you need in addition towards the GPU compute. I was wondering how you look at that question, and what do you think needs to be done to unlock this?
Can I start? I think it's a really nice question, but I think we should see AI factories is not only about tangible infrastructure. AI factories will support especially SMEs, which requires some human resources, the necessary skills to start their digital innovation and digital products. So from this point of view, I think it will be a bit different than the usual, the traditional data centers that we have. It would be more a full package support to SMEs, and it will be, if you are, of course there are procedures, but it will be for free for SMEs. I think the most critical thing is if you're an SME and if you need to start your business and be competitive, then an AI factory can be a good start, but it won't solve all your problems. And not all the AI factories are going to be built from scratch. Some of them, they are being built on the existing infrastructure. So the existing infrastructure is not wasted. One last comment. I think the current AI infrastructure that we want to have in our hands, this is not always the best for precise compute and so on. So we have different tools different needs of the customers can be answered by different technologies. So there will be a balance, I would say, at the end. Any additions?
Any other addition?
Yeah, I would like to add something. I think that the business demand is has still to increase, actually. End users, businesses, small, medium companies are not really adopting AI yet until we really integrate services, real services into their business, of course. So I think you just need to be alive until the demand will grow, which is not far.
Thank you, Alessio. I would like to go to the second question, please.
Yeah, Anders Sjöström, Lund University. So I'll try to give the academic perspective here. My question is regarding data. So where is this data to come from? Only this week, the EASC have had their summit in this city. I just came from there. And there I see the same discussions, I see the same points, I hear the same views being expressed. What I don't see is the industry. The industry is not there talking to them. Likewise, I'm the only one who has, as far as I know, any connection with that side here. So these silos that we have, because EASC sits on a lot of data, every single data that you produce at the academia will be there. So how can we solve, how can you bridge this gap?
Anyone that?
So I didn't fully understand what aspects of data?
Access to data to train your models on. Big data sets on, from, say, the digital twins projects that they have, human brains or genomes or whatever. All of those data sets are available in the academia. They are also available through EASC. So how can we bridge the gap between this part, where the industry sits, and solving the same problems that we sit and solve on the academic side? And I think that perhaps Rice could have some ideas on this. Put you on the spot there.
I'm trying to choose the words carefully, when I just check the organizations which has some successful foundation models and more famous like large language models and so on, I would say that they have one common point. They have their own data. They actually supply the best data sets to their models. That's why they are successful. But I have a different perspective here. There are a lot of open source foundation models that can be used. For me, I think in the future it will be more important that you fine-tune these models, even smaller models. And this is where we can actually start a new chapter for Europe. Because I would say some challenges, like whatever won't kill you makes you stronger, right? Some challenges we have in the Europe, maybe they can make us stronger. They can give us the availability or strength to use this limited data, but well-targeted data to develop or fine-tune better models. I'm trying to be optimistic here. I don't think I have directly right answer, but this is what I would say.
Okay, since there are a couple of minutes left.
We can allow ourselves some questions as well.
Okay. Then another question. Then I would like to give back the floor to the stage.
Thanks for the discussion. I think in the beginning of the panel, some of you mentioned that the current infrastructure is largely supported by the stack made in America. I think more precisely, we should say that it's probably supported by open source software, but somehow initiated or led or serviced by US companies. So I'm wondering, what is your position on this? Should we exclude them? Should we join them, influence them? and how much European or how less American it should be so that we can comfortably use them? Thanks.
I think you're referring to my comment on the AI stack. I was mainly referring to CUDA in this case. And no, I'm not imploring anyone to completely stop using open source, which is either coming from the US or managed by US-based foundations or organizations. There is a risk related to open source that needs to be managed. Well, we had this report before our panel on open source that discussed the risks. So I will not go into it. I can add to it that the bigger is our European customer base that is used to our services, standards that we introduced, the more resilient we are to any rapid changes in either open source governance or introduction of new things that, for example, compete with existing de facto standards on the market. That's my take. And specifically when it comes to AI stack, for now I do not really see an alternative to CUDA.
Florence?
And to just build on that, I don't think, so this goes to the question of sovereignty, and I don't think it's about replacing necessarily the US stack. They're always going to be a player. It's about building up Europe as a player as well. So it's about transparency, very much about transparency and understanding like the whole supply chain, where are we dependent, where are we vulnerable, and then making an informed choice, and also having the option to choose differently. And that's what we're trying to build up, to have an alternative, to have the transparency, to have an alternative choice. I don't know if I need to go more into open source, but yeah, I think we've covered that. It's critical.
I think it's a very interesting point, and I would like to go back to an observation that Sachiko made before, that is we have to sort of incentivize European industry to also invest more on open source and contributing to open source foundations that are, the house to many, global, there's no geographical boundaries when it comes to open source. That's my point. So European must play their parts and must engage. And I think it's not only at public level, but also at private level that this should happen, which we know didn't happen in the last 15 years or so, because one of the biggest European, I won't make names, but some of the biggest European software vendors are totally closed, and they do not at all embrace the open source path. I think it was an extremely interesting discussion. Lots of food for thoughts and further reflections, of course. Our speakers will be here, so I hope that during the lunch break, you can ask further questions if you have. And I would like to thank you all for your attention and give back the floor to Daniel for further announcements.
Thank you very much, Monique. One huge round of applause.